by the creator camp and all that stuff. All of that stuff. Let's see. Let me get this set up first. And let me bring up the creator camp. Alright, first, we can start with the basics. In the video that they had. We're going to be referencing a bunch of the videos that are on the creator camp and talking about it. Talking all about the creator camp. I've already gone through it myself. I was curious. But now I want to talk about it with you guys. Hey Nick, how you doing? So let's do this, shall we? So we'll start with the basics. So Twitch 101. I guess I'll read the dialogue before. Twitch is more than a live stream service. It's a place where creators like you can share the things you love with a community of millions, and also carve out a tight-knit corner of the internet to call your own. Hey, Shock TV, thank you for the host, and hey, Geeker, how you doing? Twitch is a place where your voice can be heard and your audience can too. The content on this site is designed to help you grow as a creator, develop a community, and earn a living doing what you love. Because that's what matters. Oh, did they add closed caption? This wasn't here before. I guess they did. Whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot of languages.
Some general advice that I like to give to new streamers at the beginning is the fact that a lot of streamers set their expectation of themselves in the bar really, really high. There's nothing wrong with having goals and wanting to put on a really good broadcast, but everybody starting out sucks behind the camera, sucks behind the microphone. Of course, there are going to be some people that are naturally more charismatic or have better social skills, just that's kind of how they are.
I'm an artist. People don't understand me.
The best advice I could give you, be yourself because you want people to like you for you.
A lot of people think I need to have this massive PC. I need to have all of these extra things. Like, you need nothing more than a game console and a microphone. That's it.
It's true.
You really don't need anything too expensive. Yes, in the long term you want to invest. But just when you get started, you can get anything.
And honestly speaking, I think just having a webcam and good enough audio is enough.
If you have something that makes your stream look and sound nice and you haven't developed the skills needed to become a better broadcaster and entertainer and learned your craft, it's not going to take you that far.
A camera isn't as important as a lot of people may make it seem. Personally, I like cameras because I'm very animated. I like to make a lot of weird faces. And it's not even that I like to make the weird faces, it's just that they happen. So, for me, a camera would be perfect.
You don't necessarily need 2 monitors at the start. If you can get a second monitor, great. It's great to have 2 monitors so you can have your broadcast, software over there and chat and things like that, multitask a little bit better. But it's not necessary. You can still use your phone or an iPad or things like that, other devices that you might have that you can install the Twitch app.
Lighting matters. If you have a good webcam but crappy lighting, they're not going to be able to see it, So get that good lighting and make sure that you got a good webcam and good audio and you're fine.
Also, while you're thinking about face cam stuff, maybe you should think about if that's the route you want to go, because I'll tell you right now, having your face on there obviously creates a little bit more, interesting stream. People can see the broadcaster. Obviously, viewers are naturally kind of curious. But if I was able to go back and just stay with no webcam so that way I could just stream all the time without having to worry about people looking at me, I might have thought twice about revealing my face, as it were, and having that be a part and staple of my stream.
Now, if we want to look into investing for streaming, you definitely want to look into a few things, mainly your computer. One of the biggest parts of computers is you want to have a really good CPU.
And if you're trying to predominantly broadcast console games or even mobile games, maybe you might think about getting a capture card.
If you're worried about, you know, the aesthetically pleasing stuff, like a nice chair to make you look legit and whatnot, just like hold off on that and just wait.
Yeah, this
Maybe
nice
make it a
this
goal
nice
for,
chair
like,
that has a
donations and whatnot, but build
blanket
up to
on
that,
it
but
to make it more comfortable.
you gotta get the stuff that really matters down first, in my opinion.
A $3.99 chair.
Mine was the hand ones that I got for $20 a piece. It's really not that bad. Try to save your money. Just get something that works, and then over time, as your community grows,
He has
and
my
you grow
headset.
as a content creator, you'll have supporters who want to help you improve the quality of your stream.
That's my headset
think
that
the
I
thing
use for
enjoy
my
the most
console.
about streaming,
The
out of
console streams.
everything is just interacting with my chat and getting to know them.
There's nothing quite like live streaming. There's no form of entertainment or medium that allows you to have that instant interaction between broadcaster and viewer. I can't throw on the TV and have a conversation and you know, interact with the person that's broadcasting towards me on the other side of the camera.
There's not
You
many
can with
places where I
Alexa.
can be myself fully and be comfortable with myself and as animated and as wild and loud as
Make
I
it
am
legit.
naturally.
This is the best video, yeah.
And Twitch is the perfect place for that.
Building a community over a longer period of time and having them come back day in and day out, not only to hopefully you have, you know, an impact on their life and cheer them up as an entertainer and a broadcaster, but also the opposite happens too, where people come through and they cheer you up. You get to see all the silly stuff that happens in your chat. And sometimes, honestly, my chat's more entertaining than I am, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
And make sure you always have that drive, because you can't get started on Twitch if you don't have the drive.
Yeah, that's my headset.
You just need to be you.
Okay. So, they said a lot in that video. Their main points were that you shouldn't spend too much, which I agree with. But you should look into getting a decent quality mic. And if you're going to use the webcam, look into getting a decent quality webcam. I use an AT2020, which does the job just fine. It's a USB mic. A lot of people invest in the Black Yeti as well. In perspective of microphones, the AT2020 and the Black Yeti are both cheaper, good quality mics. So I would recommend those two. I mean, the Black Yeti is how much? 120 on Best Buy. Something like that. And it's a decent quality microphone. Apparently it's also a mug, so don't get the mug. The mug is not gonna do you any good. Unless you really want a thermostat. Or not a thermostat, a thermos. Unless you really want basically a water bottle. Let's see here. You can get a blue microphone for 75 or 97. Really? Is that? Must be at like a different store. You know, both the Black Yeti and the AT2020 are around $100. I personally prefer the AT2020, the Audio Technica AT2020, just because I like how it looks, you know, and I also like how it sounds. But even if you can't afford an AT2020 or a Black Yeti, you can also just get a Snowball. Snowballs also work very well. Sure, it might not sound the best, but it still sounds a little bit better than something like a headset microphone would. Now, for console, I can't use a USB mic, nor would I want to, because honestly, probably wouldn't go well. Because just in the area where I actually do my my streaming on console, it just isn't made to have a USB. There's nowhere I could put my USB mic for it to capture what I want, but not, you know, echo. The headset, I use the HyperX, the HyperX Cloud 2, I think it is. No, hashtag Not sponsored. I think you can get an XLR input. Like, you mean like a mixer? Yeah, you can get a mixer and make it sound real nice. I don't have one. I just plug it in directly. Yeah, you can get an audio mixer and make it sound real nice. Plug it into that. Or not a mixer, or whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking about. Honestly, you don't need $1,000 mic. Some people are willing to spend that money, but most streamers won't be able to buy the high-end quality mics because, well, they're too expensive. It's better to get a decent quality mic that's low priced and focus on getting a better computer, because the computers you're really going to want. You're really going to want a decent computer, with a great graphics card, and a great CPU. So most of your budget should really focus on that. Yes, you can stream on console as well, if you don't have a decent PC. I stream mainly on Xbox One, and it works wonders. Some people prefer to stream on PS4, which also you can do. I honestly prefer the Xbox streaming app, but some people prefer Sony. Yes, I've tried using both. The Xbox app was a little bit easier to use, in my opinion. And yeah, there is a concern that there's a big blue rectangle in the middle of my screen when I'm streaming now, but oh well, that's not the point of this. Anyways, yeah, I mean, when most of your budget's going to be wanting to focus on getting a good computer, and if you want to, you can get a good webcam. My thing is, if you can't afford a decent quality webcam, I think that it's better to not have the webcam starting out and simply go no webcam, rather than having a fuzzy little white or whatever fuzzy little rectangle in the corner that doesn't look good at all. Yes, people would love to see your face, but I think they would rather see your face in HD like this. Well, not HD, but, decent quality, rather than see a fuzziness and all the static. So really, if you really need to save your money, invest in a decent quality mic like a AT2020, or a Black Yeti if that's your preference, and wait for the quality webcam before you do. And then you can do a special face reveal stream. That's the thing. If you wait to reveal your face, you can do a special face reveal stream, and then you can capitalize on that. So you have to think the long term. Now, if I were to recommend a webcam, I use the C920. The C920 is a really good mic, Logitech, that is reasonably priced. It's affordable and good quality. A lot of people use the C920. You really don't need to get better than that unless you really want to. Some people use a DLXR, right? Yeah. Some people use a DLXR, and that's fancy and everything, but it's really expensive to get one of those. It's really expensive to get one of those. DSLR, I think it meant. Yeah. Yeah, it meant a DSLR. Not a DXLR. I don't know what a DXLR is. I mean, if you really want a DSLR, it is better to wait until you have more money and then get it, and then go for it. Yeah. So there you go. definitely try to save money where you can, because honestly, you do not know, and you can't know, if you're truly committed to streaming until you stream. And so, if you invest so much money at on the start, it can be really bad when you find out that you don't actually enjoy streaming the way that you thought you would. And then suddenly you wasted thousands of dollars on something that you're not interested in. And it is possible to not be interested in streaming. It is very possible. It's a hard thing to do. It's time consuming. It takes time. You don't start off as the very best, and oftentimes you won't grow very far, very, very fast. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of pure dumb luck to get it on Twitch. So spending so much money straight away is not the best route, because really most people end up dropping it, or they end up second guessing themselves, or they end up taking a huge hiatus. And honestly, it's better to spend as little money, but as much money to get a decent quality stream, but not too much money before fully committing yourself. That way you have only spent maybe a couple $100 versus a couple $1,000 and lost out. And if all you have is a Turtle Beach and an Xbox or a PS4, that's perfectly fine. No one expects the first stream to be good quality. Okay, no one expects the first time streamers to have this HD pro quality. Does it help if you do? Sure, but it's not necessary. Start growing, saving up money, and then investing in better equipment. And as you progress, your quality of the stream will get better, and so will your growth and success. And then you will also have a full determination, the full ability to assess whether or not streaming is actually for you, and not waste thousands of dollars trying to basically take a gamble. I do recommend 2 monitors. It does wonders for you if you invest in a dual monitor. I actually I have a dual monitor set. One of my monitors is a cheap old monitor that I used to use, and now it's my second monitor. I would never use that as my main monitor, but it's just for chat, and it's just to have extra space. And that way you can be able to see your OBS or your XSplit or whatever you're using. And you can really, it really does help to have a second monitor, because it's like adding a second table to, adding a second table. You have more space, you have more room to move, and you even use it offline. Like, that is an investment worth checking out. But honestly, for a second monitor, you just need something cheap. It doesn't have to be something fancy. It should be something that at least works, but it doesn't have to be fancy, because no one sees it except for you. You're going to want probably a 1080 monitor for your main, if you have one, or whatever, 1280 even. But you don't need that for your second monitor, because all you need it for is literally your streaming software and your chat. Yes, you can use your phone. Yes, you can use whatever, a tablet, for chat if you really want to. But I would still recommend trying to get a dual set, so that you have more space. It's not like you will regret investing in a dual space. In a dual monitor, because honestly, once you use 2 monitors, you cannot go back. Can you use a banana? I don't think a banana will work. Once you invest in a dual monitor, you really don't go back. like you might let's like while I say that you might regret spending $1,000 on a microphone and $1,000 on a webcam because you won't be able to really use them if you decide not to stream, a dual monitor is different because you will be able to use it even if you feel like streaming really isn't for you. It is definitely a worthwhile investment and you won't regret it because chances are you're not going to stop using your computer even if you stop using your using Twitch or you stop streaming. You won't waste your money spending on a second monitor or just a cheap one. It doesn't need to be a fancy 1080p. Mine's not even 1080. I think it's technically 1024. I think. I don't actually know my second monitor. It's a cheap Dell monitor. It is a cheap Dell monitor that I dug out from my attic. It's nothing fancy at all. My main monitor is a nice LG 1080. But my second monitor isn't anything fancy. And it doesn't have to be because, like I said, you don't need something fancy for a second monitor. You just need something cheap that works, that you can tolerate to look at, and that's it. Just the main monitor for your game, so you don't have to play in window mode either, and it's a lot better that way. Because believe me, I have streamed on a one-screen laptop before, and it was fine. It was fine for what it was, but I definitely don't recommend using only one monitor. Definitely don't recommend doing that. You can if you want to, but I don't recommend it. It's a bit of a pain to deal with. What else did they talk about? Did we touch on everything? I think I did. They talked about affordable, what you need. I think they talked about what, community, something like that. It's great to have two monitors, multitask. Computer, predominantly broadcast. Need a capture card. You don't need to invest in a $399 chair to be successful. I will say that. Sure, it helps. Actually, I don't know if it doesn't really help. It just makes you more comfortable. It is better for your back when you do long run streams to have something that's comfortable to sit in. Like we do, like if you're a marathon streamer. If you do 24 hours, if you do 12 hours, it's definitely good to invest in like a DXR racing chair, or the fancy gaming chairs. You might want to invest in that if you do like marathons or long streams, really long streams. But it's nothing important to get. You really don't need. I mean, if you want to, you can, but you don't need it to start off. If you do longer streams, it is good to have a more comfortable chair, because it is better for your back and your butt as well. But it's not 100% necessary, believe it or not, even for the AFK chair streams. I mean, yeah, live streaming is definitely probably my favorite type of entertainment because you get that direct feedback, you get that direct input. People sometimes tell you when you're doing stuff wrong, and you can fix it right on stream rather than recording a 30-minute video only to realize that something went wrong, whether your mic was muted or your your webcam was messed up or something. Streaming is definitely probably a better way to grow. I mean, the one downside is that everything is live, so if you do something, you can't just edit it out. you had to commit or go home. But in a way, it is more relatable and interactive when it is a live stream and not just me talking to a camera. Sometimes it seems that recording a video and streaming is the same thing, which in a sense it kind of is when your chat isn't active. It is good to be able to talk when no one is there because people don't want to see a silent stream. Like they really don't. It's really awkward when I go into a streamer's stream and there's complete silence. They're playing the game, but nothing's being said. It is really awkward when that happens. Like maybe they don't even talk in like text chat, which sometimes people do if they don't want to use their voice. Sometimes people type in Twitch chat, but to not hear anything at all and not see any interaction, like I give people a chance to see if maybe the mic was muted or something, but if there's just absolute silence, eventually I'll just leave because it is awkward. You do want to keep that interaction. Even if you have a webcam, it does not excuse you from being complete silence. In fact, it makes it even worse because people definitely know that you're there and not saying a word, and it makes it really awkward to work with. So, make sure you're always trying to talk out loud. I sometimes fall in the trap of not being able to say much. Sometimes I can only say small words because I really don't know what to think about what to talk about. But I do try to get myself to talk as much as I can, stay active, stay interactive, even if there is absolutely no one there to watch. It is good practice for when you start growing and start attracting more viewers. It's easier to retain when you are interactive and not being an awkward turtle with your mic either muted or you're not talking at all. There is nothing more awkward for streaming than to see a silent stream with just game sounds, this game music or sound effects. And I don't mean just grunting and raging, like occasional as you're fiddling with your controller or whatever. I mean actually saying words and talking. It's also good to save your past broadcasts. You can do it with the click of a button, and people instantly can see that see what you're like in past broadcasts. Because the most important thing is on retaining followers. For a lot of people, if you ask, hey, check out my stream, it's one thing to promote your brand. Say, oh yeah, I do this, I do that. I'm a positive streamer, never curse, whatever, blah blah blah. Say whatever you want to get people to stop by. But then when people see your past broadcasts, they can assess themselves and see that you're either telling the truth or you're making stuff up just to get views. And when you make stuff up, it's not good. But it does keep you honest, and it does allow people to see that, oh yeah, they're actually true. That's kind of cool. I might want to check them out now and actually follow them. Versus a person who lies. Because it's one thing if you do it when you know the person is in the room, but it's another to do it when you think nobody is watching you. And that's the key. To keep up your brand even when you think that no one is watching you. Because there could very well be one person who is watching you, lurking in chat, whatever, trying to assess whether they want to follow you or not, and they make that judgment. You can say what your brand is 1,000 times. It's not going to matter if you don't actually keep that up. So moving on, I want to move on to the live stream. To be honest, there's a lot of videos that you can go through in Create a Camp, but I want to make sure that we have time for the live stream that they did, which is over here. Let me try and get to it. We'll jump through hoops to get to this thing. Integrity is definitely an important thing. So definitely want to make sure we can watch the past broadcast. They did a whole Q&A thing, and we're going to check it out now because I'm interested to hear what they were talking about. I caught it at the very end, but I didn't catch the entire thing. So we're going to go from the start. Here.
So you can learn from their successes.
Nope, here. Alright, let's start.
Hello,
oh, wait.
everybody. Welcome to the very first Twitch Creator Campfire.
And I'll pause and talk, and we'll just continue talking about all of this stuff. I'll give my input as well. Just use this as a basis.
It was designed to give new and growing streamers advice and insight onto some of Twitch top partners. So you can learn from their successes. You're going to be able to find out how to establish your content, design your brand.
I don't personally know any of these broadcasters. I might check them out later.
And humbled to be here, joined by 3 Twitch partners that I know very well, and we're lucky to be able to get to talk to them, learn a little bit about how they grew and established their brand here on.
I like that Twitch is doing this, by the way. It's a very good idea.
They rose to where they are in their careers. So they are going to be able to answer some questions live at the end.
Those of the creator and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Twitch Interactive.
So if you've ever wanted to ask a question to some of our top partners, you're going to have a chance right now. But I'd also love to not be the only one talking. And
I do recognize their faces, though. I might not recognize who they are, but I do recognize their faces.
Maybe you haven't had a chance to check out their channels.
It says a lot.
I'd love to start with Little Siha, if you wouldn't mind giving us a nice little introduction.
Hi,
Hello.
Avery or Little Sia. I am mainly a Just Dance streamer, and I've been streaming for about 3.5 years, and I've been doing it full time for about a year and a half.
Excellent, excellent. And then we can move on to DJ Tech Live.
Okay. Hey, I'm DJ Tech Live. I've been streaming for.
Why is the video synced off?
Partner,
This is supposed to be professional. The sync is off.
I do creative. I do just teach educational, and we do
Whoops.
talk and host here on Twitch.
Excellent.
It's like a second. There's like a millisecond delay.
I can't hear you, but I'm assuming it's my turn.
Look at that,
My
what
name
a
is
pro.
Jericho. I've been streaming for just shy of 9 years now. I stream pretty much whatever I feel like.
They're using Zoom because Zoom is the best to use,
And pretty much whatever people ask me.
but
Excellent, excellent.
it is
Thank you very much.
expensive
I think one of the coolest things that I've
to actually have Zoom.
even to step one is that everybody has a particular niche or something that they're focused on, but there's a lot of diversity represented in streaming here on Twitch. You can be a partner and be known for one thing and stream lots of other things. So thank you all for joining me today. I'm incredibly excited to be able to get to know a little bit behind this ascension to becoming a Twitch partner. You know, it wasn't always easy. Jericho, he said he'd been streaming for 9 years.
It's definitely not easy. It's definitely not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Time for
And it's not easy
many years.
at all.
It's gotta be
It's more than just sitting on your butt and playing a game. Yes, you can do that for each stream, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna get you success if you do that.
And we're gonna make sure that we are going to be.
Let's put it this way: it's easy to stream, but it's not easy to be a successful streamer.
But I am going to kick this off with one that I think will help generate some kind of discussion amongst y'all. Is going to be, what do you think is the one thing that helped you cross the line from a normal content creator on Twitch to becoming a partner? And I know that all of y'all had started streaming before there was the affiliate program. So this is probably really interesting for the folks who are, currently as Twitch affiliates. Maybe they're making that ascension to Twitch partnership. What do you think that was that one thing that might have pushed you over the edge?
I mean, I'll start because it was really, really different back in Justin TV days and even before then.
Oh, it's really bugging me that it's not in sync.
First applied for partnership, the recommended concurrent viewership was about 500.
I just won't look at it.
So I see a lot of talk about people like, man, I can't believe we got to get 100 concurrent viewers, and I'm like, I know, man, it was pretty tough out there.
100 concurrent viewers, yeah.
That was a difficult hurdle to get over because of the sheer amount of people that you need to have, and the transition from just being a normal person who wants to stream on Twitch to somebody who's saying, hey, I want this to be a livelihood, or I want to do this full time, or at least want to make take a shot at it. It came down to doing as good as I could to focus on streaming every single day, which is the most cop-out answer I think anybody could have. It's just like, yeah, dude, schedule it out. But it's impossible to grow a consistent audience if you don't have a consistent schedule, at least in terms of, hey, I'm going to do it a couple times a week. I mean, you can't just come on once a week and expect to grow or build your audience.
That's true.
How big you are.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree. When I got partnered, it was just transitioning. They were starting to redevelop the way partnerships work.
This stuff doesn't really apply to me because I'm not partnered, so I'm not gonna. Well, I will. I can talk about my experience.
Interacting with your audiences, your personality, your uniqueness.
Because people do find it hard to even make that leap to affiliate. I will say, since it does kind of apply to me in the affiliate sense, honestly, for me, affiliate was too easy to get. To be fair, I'd already been trying to grow my channel ahead of time. Not everyone has, and it is a little bit harder to get those 3 average viewers due to the changing viewer count system that is a little bit inaccurate, and it makes it harder because, one, they're trying to make it so that chatbots and, the chatbots that you don't want in your channel don't count as viewers anymore. So it used to be that all you needed was yourself, your bot, and one other viewer. And that was it. And getting that one average viewer, that one more average viewer, was a little bit easier than getting 3 different average viewers to constantly be watching your stream. Part of what helps is joining something like Streamers Connected or Stream Horizons that will you interact with, you engage with, and then once you start growing that network, that community, start getting your name out there, it's a lot easier. I also had higher viewing streams at one point, as I focused a lot on Skyrim, and I had a lot of help from, well, not help, but I did have a lot of support from fellow broadcasters that were absolutely amazing people who did help me. It's not an easy road even to get affiliate. I honestly think that affiliate should have harsher requirements, but that's just me, because it feels like that every single person is now an affiliate, which Twitch could have very well intended for it to be. They probably wanted to make it easy, not too easy, but to make it easy enough for everyone to get paid on Twitch. Now, it's not an easy road to get paid on Twitch, even if you become an affiliate, because you do have to make that $100 mark before you get your first check. And honestly, I don't really care about getting my first check. I just wanted the emotes. That's the only reason why I honestly accepted the Twitch affiliate. Because I was one of I think I was the second or third week. I was the person who made the requirements, but had to wait a little bit as the program sort of started rolling out. And then I waited even longer before I actually accepted it, because honestly, I didn't think I earned it. I didn't think I deserved it, because I did literally nothing to get affiliate. And yeah, now it's a little bit harder because you don't have, the viewer count system has changed, and it's not as easy. It's still pretty easy, but it's not as easy as it was in the first few weeks of affiliates. To be fair, a lot of people had already, worked to that spot, and so they literally had to do absolutely nothing to get affiliate because they had already made the requirements. So at first it does seem that it was very easy to get affiliate, but now it's sort of cooled down. It's a little bit more challenging to get affiliate if you haven't already made it. Hello, Defenders. How you doing? Why are you upset? And being able to get past that bar is a huge hurdle. It takes a lot of work. I did, manage to pull in 20 viewer average at one point, and then it kind of just faded away. I have no idea actually what happened, but it's just the name of the game. Your viewers are gonna be like a roller coaster. They're gonna go up, they're gonna go down. They're never really ever going to be just one number. And even if you do reach that high viewer numbers, it doesn't mean that you're going to retain them forever. You have to work every day to make sure, or every stream, to make sure that you do retain those viewers. Why are you upset? It's definitely a hard road to go through. Streaming in general is challenging. Make no mistake about it. Sure, you can sit there and play games and broadcast to the world, but it is not an easy task to push further than just sitting on your butt and playing games. Like the mainstream media and multimedia makes it sound so easy to stream. But it is not. It's taxing, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and even after you put in so much work, even that is still not enough. You need luck. You honestly do need a lot of luck to be able to really get there. And some people are really successful their first week. I know a person who got partnered in a year, and it wasn't even with the new system. It was with the old system where you had to apply. And doing that takes a lot of work. It's not easy to do that. Ligma. Is it not like a trolling thing? I know people were talking about Ninja. It's a Ninja thing, right? I don't actually know what it is. Yeah. Ligma. Yeah, so it's not a thing. Yeah, okay. So you're not actually upset. Ligma. It's definitely a hard road. It's not as easy as the media would like you to think. They talk about PewDiePie, and they talk about all of these people, Ninja, who are making money, and they make it sound so easy, when in reality, both of those creators worked their butts off to get to where they are. Both of them did. They worked so hard to get there. It didn't take a couple seconds for them to... I mean, in a way it did, but it doesn't... You don't just get popular off of playing games. That's not how this works. You actually have to put work into it. You actually have to put a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to really get there. Some people get really lucky. Most people don't. And it's definitely not as easy as people think. Like, honestly, if anyone ever tells you that streaming is easy, they're lying. Or they haven't actually put in the work to make their stream successful. Because streaming is definitely not easy. It's easy to get started, and it's easy to play games on your computer, but it's not. That doesn't mean that it's successful. I mean, if that's what people enjoy, then that's what people enjoy. I frankly don't really focus on the success level. I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to as a hobby, and that's enjoyable to me. I'm not concerned about partnership, or I would like to grow a community, but it's not. I'm really just here to have fun. But most people are here to get to partnership and to make this a full-time thing, and that definitely is not easy. Even when you don't try, it can sometimes be really hard because you have to deal with drama, you have to deal with a lot of stuff that in most cases you wouldn't actually have to deal with in your life. There are exceptions, of course, but most of the things you deal on Twitch, you really wouldn't have to deal with in your life if you just lived a normal life off of Twitch, like some people would want you to do. It's definitely not easy to be a successful streamer, especially a successful full-time streamer, because it's even harder, even if you're a partner, to pull in that money to make it possible to have streaming as a full-time job. Let's continue.
Streaming, and I thought that was a long time. I was
Let's
like, oh my
continue.
God, it must be really bad or something like that. But the hurdle that got over me was, I think a lot of people were interested in the fact that I've worked a full-time job and did this full-time at the same time, and I still do it to this day. And a lot of people were like, you gotta bring something unique, and I tell them, like, you're unique yourself. You know? So my personality, I never hid behind a facade or nothing. I was just brought me to the table, and I'm a go-getter, so I always
Make sure what
I'm
time
never
it is.
satisfied in the positive.
There's a certain time where I'm going to have to
mentality, we keep striving for success and never setting a
shut
standard for
off.
yourself, set realistic
And we can always
goals
resume this later.
in this environment.
I think having a niche is also super
Yeah, so
important because
yeah.
it's
Having a brand, having a general, what you're going to expect from the channel.
do is just play games and that's it, but that's not really it. You're kind of like the host of like a party, and you're entertaining and having fun, and I think that finding a way to be different and silly, and it obviously doesn't have to be silly, but finding a way to be different and
Yeah, you definitely want to find some way to stand out from everyone else. There are about 7 million streamers on Twitch right now. I know there's actual numbers on the About Me page, on the About Us page. In fact, let me actually look real quick. Let me actually see. Oh, they changed it. they changed the page. Maybe it's under. This isn't what I want to do. Wait, what? I'm trying to find 2+ million active broadcasters and 17,000+ partners. So yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, and so you want to find a way to make your stand out. The first thing I will ask a person if they're really wanting for me to check out their stream, or really wanting to grow and trying to figure out why they're not growing, the first thing I will ask them is, what makes you worth watching that the rest of the million streamers don't have? What makes you stand out? What is your brand, basically? That is the first thing I will ask someone. And some people have really great responses, and then I follow them. Others don't really know what to say. Like, I stream a lot of Fortnite, but so does a lot of other people. You need to find something that really makes you stand out and really capitalize on that. Like, I now do a lot of single player, story-driven games. I also do talk shows like this sometimes. And that, for me, is sort of my brand in a way. I'm spreading positivity. I also stream for charity. I don't have a personal donation button. Instead, I have a charity button that you can donate to help support the animals in need. In fact, if you type !charity, you can even find the link to that. But I don't, also, look at that, so bad. It's important to find something that makes you stand out. Something that you can promote to others. Like when people ask, okay, well, why should I check you out? Or, what is your brand? What are you streamed for? And you can use, if you stream a specific game or a specific type of games, you can actually use that as your sort of niche. Like, I play competitive multiplayer games, or I do speedruns, or, I do, I personally do single player story-driven games. That's my thing. I also do other stuff in between, but that's the main thing that I do. Some people can do, I do retro games. I stream things like Terraria or even Pong. You might not get many viewers off of Pong, but or you could be like a competitive Tetris streamer. Something that makes you stand out, something that is your own thing that makes you stand out. Individual personalities is what really makes you successful. Variety doesn't really help anymore. The variety used to be a trend, but what's being found out is that people with individual personalities, people with unique personalities, are the ones that are being more successful. Ninja has his own individual personality, his own brand. Dr. Disrespect has his own character. Goobers plays up this sort of positive hyper character. So far, the trend is individual personality. Playing up whether it's a character or it's just this different kind of personality in a positive light. You can even look at people, like, honestly, the people who are more relevant are those, or more popular, are those with an individual personality, or they already made it. But currently, the most successful people are the ones who have made themselves stand out to the point where they are their brand. It's not like, I stream retro games, or I stream competitive multiplayer, or whatever. It's them. They are their own brand. They are what makes their stream stand out. And people want to watch them, and people want to stop by their streams, and they grow. Like Kip Bugger, He has a whole bunch of characters. He streams with different personalities, with different characters. Trying to think of other big streamers that sort of do that same thing. I mean, yes, the big streamers who have done variety are also still relevant, also still successful, but they're not. But starting as a fresh variety streamer isn't really going to be able to push you. I mean, it very well could be if you have that personality, if you have that drive. But honestly, if you don't have that individual personality like Dr. Disrespect has, or Ninja has, or all of these people who have basically their own character to play on stream. If you don't have that, I would really recommend sticking to a genre, sticking to a type of game, not just a specific game category, which some people do. Some people are solely Skyrim streamers, or some people are solely Overwatch streamers. You can do that, or Fortnite streamers. You can do that, but it's a little bit harder to grow because you're only getting people from that category. And sometimes you don't even get people from that category. You're limiting your viewers when you stick to only one game. When you stream a variety, but of a genre, like maybe not just Fortnite, but you also play Overwatch, you also play Call of Duty, you play League of Legends, you play multiplayer competitive games, then you're sticking to a game category, but you're not restricting yourself, and you're exposing your name to a broader audience, and you're not restricted to only the viewers who want to watch that game. I would also not recommend streaming those top games that everybody streams, and because it's a lot harder to grow there. You're at the very bottom of the list. In fact, I would not recommend, if you don't have any sort of community, I would not recommend streaming Fortnite or League of Legends, because you will not be found. The key to finding the best game to stream is finding a game that has less streamers but more viewers consistently. Like, look at probably the top 20. See how many broadcasters are in that, and see how many viewers are there. And it shouldn't just be a one-time thing. Like, if you see a game at the top, there's maybe 4 streamers, but one is super popular, like they're in the thousands, and then the rest are like 20, 19, 10. Probably not the one that you're looking for, because there is a large audience and there's less streamers, but that's only because there's that one streamer in there. You really want to find a game that has an even distribution of average viewers, but not that many streamers, because that tells you that if everyone's around the same viewer range, that tells you people are wanting to find people who stream that game, and aren't there just for the streamer, and are actually wanting to watch that game you played. And that gets you a better chance of being found, and as long as you enjoy it, and the key is to enjoy it, it can really do you justice. That's how you find the right game to stream. Now you can stream whatever you want. If you really want to stream Fortnite, go ahead. It's just harder to grow, especially when you're not a part of a community like Streamers Connected, or like Stream Horizons, or like any other Twitch team, where you don't have a place to sort of network and grow your own name, not based on what you stream, but based on your personality, based on getting people what to know, and based on community members checking you out. It's definitely hard to grow on Fortnite alone, or something, or League even, and be successful. And some people can do it, because eventually some person might be willing to scroll down a million times to find those small streamers, but not a whole lot of people do. In fact, a lot of the times it's just trolls to scroll down and find the small streamers to prey on, and that's not what you want, most likely. And trolls aren't going to stay most of the time. So, that's what you should expect when you stream under a game category that has a ton of streamers, and, people are only watching because it's popular. It's hard to grow when you're streaming the most popular game to be streamed. It's better to find that other game that is, again, highly viewed, highly demanded, but doesn't have as many suppliers. And supply and demand. Find that ideal price where there's just as many viewers as there are streamers, or something like that, it's hard to find those games, but they are there. There are games people would want to watch that aren't the top, that don't have as many streamers to watch.
And stand out is also super, super important.
Definitely find that niche.
So you all have mentioned actually a couple of different key points, and I mean, realistically, Jericho, you started off with consistency. I know that's a huge point. DJ, you mentioned the ability to like not hide behind your brand. You have to be a go-getter. You have to feel comfortable with that, and then ultimately, like you're all speaking about these things that you know intimately, but trying to put them into words can be really tough because it's like it's something that you learn day by day. It's kind of like saying, oh, how do I get comfortable, playing a sport or working this job? It's things that you kind of have to learn on the fly. But I know that from the common theme that I've seen in questions in chat already, there's there's a pretty big question that a lot of folks are going to have, and that is we have specifically from, I think it's Caliber 2020, who ask, what is the best way to get new viewers into your channel? And I'm sure that all of you have different methods, different tried and true strategies that have worked. And this can be things like on-platform discovery, off-platform discovery. But I'm really curious, have you guys found anything that has worked particularly well? Or interested in seeing where Twitch goes?
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I'm just gonna go on the clock quick. There's a plethora of things I'm pretty sure Jericho and CI is gonna cover one of two, but the two most important things is don't be afraid to get out on social media because exposure is still to this day one of the hardest things to do. You can have a certain amount of people that know who you are, and you'll start to
I'll be right back, guys. I just need to take some painkillers real quick. So, still recovering from those wisdom teeth. I'll be right back. I'm back. There. There. This is good to be like.
What you do, but to expose yourself, reaching out with social media,
Ooh.
and treat your stream kind of like a restaurant. I like to always say, if you serve the same platter every day, people are gonna come in and like it. And you have your regulars, that's all they want to eat. But apparently, you need to have different places, different things on the menu, and switch it up a good bit, and rebrand some things here and there. And the more you do that in a timely manner, don't do it too too often. People will come in and say, okay, I like this streamer, and they'll talk about you, that's great. But just like a restaurant, if a bad restaurant is bad, you know, they're gonna reach out to more people and let them know. But if a restaurant is good, it's slow and consistent. You gotta keep that consistency while switching it up at the right moments, and just have fun with it at the same time.
Yeah.
I really like the platter analogy because I feel like when you first start streaming, or maybe like you just get affiliated, that is like the perfect time to experiment with tons of different things, whether it's like IRL, cooking, creative, like just try everything and see what you enjoy most and what your viewers enjoy most, and what like a good like synergy of both that you can find. That's like the perfect time to do it, because if you get partnered off of like playing one game all the time and you're like, oh, now that I'm partnered, I can just play whatever I want, like it's still gonna be the same. People are gonna be like, oh, you're not playing Fortnite, you're doing cooking, I'm not interested. So finding a way to mix it up when you first start is really great, because that's where you can kind of like hit the ground running, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it comes down to like setting expectations for your viewers, and I know a lot of people have the same question. It's when should I decide to play the popular game? When should I jump on a hype train? When should I play the games that maybe I want to play but aren't very popular? And there's a time and place for each, and I don't think you should limit yourself to either doing only popular games or only indie games, but you have to understand the discoverability in Twitch in its current form is linear. It is solely based off of how many viewers you have. So if you have 0 viewers, it's actually not possible to get down to a 0 viewer channel in Fortnite. Like, go ahead and try, but the site's that's going to be a problem for you. So you should probably think about doing something where if there's a healthy game directory with 20 or 30 other people playing it, that way
I think that's exactly what I just said, basically. Yeah, basically that's pretty much what I just said earlier. Like, if you really want to find that game, the right game to stream, find a game that has less streamers, but more viewers. And not just the one-time thing, not just like the top streamer has like 1,000 views and that's where the popularity comes from. No, you want a place that has distributed numbers, so it looks like it has high views, less streamers, and more distribution of viewers, because that tells you that there are people who are actually wanting to find streamers who play that specific game, and not just streamers who are there for the streamer or there because it's just way popular and everyone's streaming it. While it's okay to stream Fortnite every once in a while, like he said, if you have 0 viewers, it's going to be very hard to grow off of that. It is so challenging, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle with getting affiliate. A lot of people who struggle getting affiliate, getting those 3 average viewers, is because they stream games like Fortnite, Overwatch, League, things that are very popular and have a lot of viewers, but there are way too many streamers and way too much competition. No one can find you. You might get lucky if someone's really committed to scrolling down, but the chances of people finding you in a community like Fortnite, in a category like Fortnite, Overwatch, League, is very slim. It might be easier to grow in Overwatch because it's starting to be less streamers in that category, but still, it's still going to be a hard battle. Stream things like Skyrim. Skyrim is a good example because it has fewer streamers, but a lot of people like to watch Skyrim. A lot of people like to see the different builds, see how other people play the game, and it's definitely a good game to stream. I know because I streamed it for a while. I used to do unique builds, make unique builds, and would use that to grow, and I did really well for that. I wasn't. There was no way I was going to fully commit to only streaming Skyrim. I streamed other games too, and I still, maybe I still think that one day I'll go back to Skyrim or even do Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out. But there are certain games that you really shouldn't stream unless that's literally the only game that you enjoy, and that's stuff like Fortnite, Overwatch, League. Yes, if you enjoy it, that's fine. And I encourage you to stream games that you enjoy. But if you're really trying to get affiliate, streaming those types of games is not the best way to do it. I would say, trying to think of games that have a lot of viewers, but not a lot of streamers. That's actually pretty hard to find. Let me look at the browsing at the games category. Browse. Let's see. So currently, Fortnite definitely don't stream Fortnite. Hearthstone's also harder to really grow from. Honestly, IRL is hard to grow from because there's a lot of like vloggers and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't really commit to IRL because most people who stream probably aren't going to want to commit to that. I mean, I could be wrong, but let's see what right now there's Kiboga. It'll be hard to grow on IRL because there's not really one thing. There's a lot in that category that's hard to grow off of. Even being a creative streamer, if you're a creative streamer, use those hashtags. Definitely try and use those hashtags. World of Warcraft is another one that I wouldn't stream. Would not stream. FIFA is not one that I would stream. Talk shows are fine if you have something unique to talk about, but I wouldn't recommend it for every once in a while because it does strain your voice. Believe me, I know. After talking for a couple hours, it really begins to hurt, especially when you just got wisdom teeth taken out a few weeks ago. Well, a week ago. It does hurt a little bit. Let's see here. Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto definitely wouldn't. There's definitely way too many streamers to commit to. Like, I'm scrolling down, I'm still seeing 60, 40. If you see stuff like that, well, okay, now I'm getting down to, well, oh, is this not by viewer? Oh my gosh, it's not by viewers. What the heck? What is it organized by? What is this organized by? Is this not by viewers? This is not by viewers. There's no way. Wait, what? I'm so confused. Actually, Grand Theft Auto might be a good one to stream because when I narrowed it down to just English streamers, there's actually a lot of low viewing streams, and that definitely has a lot of viewers. So Grand Theft Auto actually wouldn't be that bad to stream. Let's see, No Man's Sky. Let me look at only English streamers. And it also depends on your region too. I should also say that. Different countries will have different languages, I should say. Different languages will have different popular streams. So, because the app does allow people to filter based on language, you actually might have a better chance of getting there if you are a foreign streamer. The ideal game for an English-speaking stream might not be the ideal game for a foreign speaker or foreign stream. That also factors in, because I think also FIFA is a good example, because while FIFA has a lot of streamers, a lot of those I believe are foreign streams. They tend to be, at least from my experience. FIFA actually isn't that bad. It isn't a bad choice. There is that large amount of viewers. I think there's actually a tournament going on. Is that a tournament? No. I don't know. I have no idea. If you enjoy FIFA, probably might be something to look into. Again, it really depends on your region. For the app, it is based on region. So something that's popular in the US that has large viewers in the US and the UK might not be the same as something in Russia or Spain or somewhere else, Japan. And you can also debate whether or not you want to. If you are like a Japanese streamer or a Russian streamer, but you do speak a little bit of English, you can debate whether or not you want to either restrict it to just Russian viewers or just people who speak that language, or you could try doing a dual language stream where you go back and forth between English and whatever the other language is. That way you have a little bit of a broader audience. It is tough to be a foreign streamer when there's typically less. I mean, you won't get no views because there's probably going to be people who do speak that language. If that's all you speak, then that's all you speak. But if you can, speak dual languages, it's not a bad idea to put in your title EN/, you see it EN/JP or whatever, or something like that. EN/SP if you speak Spanish, or I guess technically it's ES because that's Espanol. But to let people know that you do speak two languages, and then they realize that, oh, I could actually watch this person and maybe be able to understand half of the words that they say. It is a little bit awkward to be in a foreign speaking chat though, even if the streamer does speak English, because you don't understand half of the words that the half of the community says. It's kind of weird. Because I have been in those. But, what works. Thank you for that, host. I think we're getting off topic right now, so let's continue. I think I've said my piece on that.
Creation, and you're never going to survive in content creation if you only use one facet of it. So Twitter, Instagram, not Snapchat, it's a terrible program. Anything else is going to help build your brand as a whole and allow you to source communities from different areas.
I need to post more on my Instagram, by the way. Starting to try and do that.
Recruit people who may never have even heard of Twitch. Like, those are all very valuable to focus on. So it's about doing as much as you can across all platforms, not putting all your eggs into one Twitch basket.
I really like that. Diversity, once again, raises its head. It's got to be a common theme in a lot of these, is that you can't just focus on one strategy. And I think especially important is the fact that both the internet content and even Twitch as a platform is evolving every day. It's pushed forward, so trying to find the ways to take advantage of new strategies that come up. It's a lot of really good insight, and I do want to make a particular shout out that there is a special Twitch creator camp about engaging with new users and attracting new followers. So make sure to check that out. If you are on the page, you can look to the left. There's a little link to that one. But we're going to continue taking these questions from chat. So I think this is also an interesting follow-up. You might have to go back a couple of years for this one, but this is from Mr. Unpractical, and he asked, how did you deal with the beginning of your sort of grind when you didn't have people watching? So Jericho, you specifically mentioned 0 viewers in Fortnite. Probably not the best strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
Little to no viewers, which probably means little to no chat interaction as well.
I was gonna say maybe I should kind of heed the other two on this, because when I came to Twitch as somebody who wanted to do this was a little bit more than part-time, I brought my YouTube audience with me, so I had an inherent audience off the start.
That is a good thing to do.
So I personally don't have the same struggle that a lot of people did, where they came, the only point that they were starting at was 0 viewers on Twitch. So I don't feel like I can contribute as well, but I know that these two have, you know, recently done that, so they could probably chip in.
Yeah, basically, when I first came to Twitch, I was dealing with social anxiety, and I think a lot of people are dealing with some kind of mental, issue when it comes to a lot of people. And I was like, there's no way I can sit here and do it, and thousands of people, like 10,000.
Yeah.
1 or 2 is still to this day is huge. Just to think of a room filled with 20.
What's interesting, it is more common to find people with disorders, disabilities, whatever, on Twitch than you might so in real life. And that's because a lot of people use Twitch for the same reason. A lot of people find Twitch or YouTube for the same reason. They start streaming for similar reasons, and that is to escape. A lot of people like to use Twitch as an escape, as a way to find entertainment that is enjoy to watch, but doesn't. And it's interesting because there's a lot of introverts on Twitch. There's a lot of people who have social anxiety or some sort of anxiety and all sorts of stuff that you could never imagine. A lot of streamers have that, or a lot of people on Twitch in general do have those struggles, and you hear the stories from them. You wouldn't think that, there's 7 million people or whatever, and there are a lot of those people have gone through things that you have too, and it's kind of interesting to think that someone with social anxiety can actually interact with people, with thousands of people, and not have that same effect. Some people do, but a lot of people don't have the same effect because there is that screen behind you. They don't see those thousands of people. They just... It's not the same as like if you were in person at conventions or something. And it's very interesting to kind of see that around Twitch, to see that there are other people who are just as, are struggling just as much as you are. And it's important to remember that, too, is that everyone on this platform is human. They have had their struggles, or still have the struggles. And they're all going through things, and there's a reason. They all have their own reasons on how they found Twitch. I personally found Twitch through a YouTuber who had a Twitch channel. I decided to check out the platform, and here I am. But it is easy to use Twitch as sort of as an escape as well. When you're going through those hard times, when you're going through rough times, it's a lot of people use Twitch as an escape, as a mean to escape. They check out their positive broadcasters, they check out their favorite broadcasters, and it helps them feel better. I've heard so many stories of where streamers have literally saved lives of people who were thinking those thoughts, let's say that. And, a lot of people do go through that. A lot of people on Twitch have gone through those struggles, and it's important to realize that everyone has gone through those struggles. It's not just you, it's a lot of people. And a lot of people use Twitch, again, for the same reasons. It's interesting because I didn't realize until recently how many people on Twitch who stream, or maybe even don't stream, have some sort of social anxiety, are introverts, are, and there are a lot of people who are perfectly able and fine, but there's also a lot of people with all sorts of disabilities and all sorts of disorders. There's handicapped people, there's deaf people, there's blind YouTubers, and it's interesting to see because you get to see in their world what they're like, what they go through, and you can kind of learn more about the disorder or disability by experiencing it with them. they've gone through it. They can tell you those stories, and they can tell you what it's like to be them. And that's also why I think people enjoy watching different streamers, not just, you know, the gameplay, but also for the individual person, for their story, for their, because people find them relatable. In fact, sometimes people get way too attached to streamers because they do find them too relatable. They think that the streamer they watch for 100 hours is suddenly their friend, because they think that they know them so well because they're so relatable. And sometimes that can be really dangerous. Sometimes it's a good way to make friends, but sometimes it can be really dangerous because people go too far sometimes. And some people have that struggle to realize that it's not the same as an in real life friendship. You know, people have different mindsets, people have different ways of viewing. It's just interesting. And you see all those perspectives on Twitch. I've seen so many different perspectives on things that I really didn't have, you know, much ground on until I didn't realize that people had such different opinions sometimes. And it's interesting to hear what the other side has to say sometimes. It's interesting. Sometimes it can be a bit harsh to hear certain reality checks, but it is a good way to globalize your knowledge, like not just from one source, one opinion, whatever your school taught you, but also learn the perspective of other people from all around the world. That's one of the perks of being on a platform like Twitch that is so global. People have so many different opinions, different whatever, and you can learn from that perspective, and you can sort of get, it's almost like it enlightens you in a way. And it's interesting sometimes to learn what other people go through.
And speaking in front of them brought that kind of scare. So I showed them people's, chats that were already established. And I got to know, the crowd and got more comfortable with myself speaking to multiple people that I don't know who's on the internet. And the biggest advice I can give anybody that's starting, if you know you have 0 viewers, don't start streaming then. Start researching, start finding out what kind of equipment you want to use.
Yeah, I did a lot of research before I actually started.
Establishing yourself in social media, whether
Yeah.
it's YouTube or not, or watch videos. You guys have that resource now. And
Yeah, I was on Twitch for a year. I entered August of 2014. Around there. I think it's more like November 2014, but I found Twitch around November 2014. And then I started streaming August 12th, 2015. I did a whole bunch of research. I did my research. I did my homework. I watched pretty much all of the Twitch tip videos that there are, all of the tutorials, how to set up OBS, what software to use, what cameras, mics, whatever to use. Of course, I ended up rebranding anyways, but I was able to sort of use my first experience and sort of learn from that, and then restart again and do this, what I believe is the right way. I enjoy doing this. The way I approached it at first was not the way that I would have if I could restart. But I did learn a lot from experience, but also from others' experiences. Watching other Twitch streamers who have been established or are established can teach you a lot. You can learn from the ways that they stream. Not just through tips, but through the way that they actually stream. See how your favorite broadcaster interacts with the chat or doesn't. See what makes them enjoyable to watch. And you can kind of learn the mindset of that community. What made that community want to watch them? Was it their individual personality? Was it the specific genre that they were streaming? Was it something that they were doing different that no one else was doing? What made them watchable versus the 2 million other streamers? And by established streamer, I don't necessarily mean they have to have 1,000 views. It doesn't have to be like Ninja. It can be like just a partnered streamer. Really, any partnered streamer you can kind of learn from. You can use them as a learning tool. Learn from experience. You learn by observing. And that's the thing. Even when you're on the bench in softball or baseball in a sport, if you're in the dugout, you should be watching those players, seeing how they play. Why are they playing on the field and not you? And learning how they communicate and stuff like that. That's what my coaches said. If you're on the bench, you better be active in the game. Like, you better be paying attention to what people are doing. Learn from, also watch other people play the game. Watch other people play, see how they play the game. See how they, catch the ball and how they do the fundamentals. Well, everything is, first you have to get down the fundamentals, and then you learn by experience. You learn by watching. There's one thing to learn by having a whole lecture about it, watching videos and having lectures about it. But you learn more by experiencing, seeing how others do it. I'm a visual learner. I need to see someone else do it and to understand fully what someone is talking about. Like, I'm a visual person. I like to see it first, and then I can learn quicker that way. After seeing it, I sort of get a better idea and a better sense of what people are talking about. Like, if you actually just watch streamers interact with their communities, talk in the chat, establish your name as a viewer before working your way as a streamer. Because then, in the long run, eventually, some of those streamers might actually help you out in getting those numbers and getting your name out there. That's what happened with me. I got a lot of help from a lot of streamers, and it was because I was an established viewer. I established myself. I interacted with them, and then at some point, I also, I would host them. I would sort of tell them, not self-promote outright, but just kind of say, hey, I stream. Not in a way that I was like asking them to promote myself or asking them to do anything. Some people I didn't even tell, and they still helped me because I ended up hosting them at some point or something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, she's an active viewer in my chat. Let me give her a shout out. And that's what a lot of streamers tend to do. If you're an active viewer and they find out you're suddenly a streamer or you're just starting out, there are a lot of people who will help you out, and that's okay. And it can be really beneficial to really grow those connections, and use them later to your advantage. I am running out of time, guys. I have to wrap this up. So we will resume this later. And some other point, probably not today, probably tomorrow or something like that. I'm running out of time. I need to do a raid real quick. And then we will wrap things up. Okay, so let me find somebody to raid. Let me see who's streaming. Let me see.